Most people think earning more money will make them rich, but that idea is completely wrong. A company hired Daniel at $60,000 a year. 3 years later, he was making $85,000. He felt like he was winning, like he had finally figured things out. But behind the scenes, nothing was really changing. His financial position stayed almost the same. Daniel started working harder than ever. Longer hours, more pressure, more responsibility. His income kept going up, but his net worth barely moved at all. Meanwhile, his friend Lucas was making less money, but somehow he was doing better financially. Same city, same age, same opportunities. Completely different outcomes. The difference wasn't discipline. It wasn't intelligence. It was something Daniel didn't even know existed. A system hidden in plain sight. A system built into how salaries work. A system with layers. Most people only see the surface, but they never see what's happening underneath. Daniel thought his salary was his income, but what you earn is not what you keep. Before he even touched his money, taxes were already taking their share. Federal tax, state tax, Social Security, and Medicare all reduce what he actually keeps. Out of $85,000, Daniel only keeps around $60,000 after everything is taken out. But in his mind, he's still earning $85K. And that gap becomes the first hidden layer. Then comes the raise everyone waits for. A $15,000 increase that feels like a big win. But higher income gets taxed more, so that raise is smaller than it looks. Out of that $15,000 increase, Daniel only keeps around $9,000 in reality. That's about $750 per month. And that's where the second hidden layer begins. Daniel didn't upgrade his finances, he upgraded his lifestyle without even realizing it. He moved into a better apartment, bought a newer car, and started spending more every month. At first it felt small, just a few upgrades here and there. Nothing too extreme. But over time his expenses quietly grew until they matched his income almost perfectly. That extra $750 per month disappeared. Not in one big decision, but across dozens of small ones. It wasn't invested. It wasn't saved. It was simply absorbed into his daily life. This is what's called lifestyle inflation. And most people don't even notice it happening. The more you earn, the more you spend, and the cycle repeats itself again and again. It feels like progress on the surface, but underneath nothing is really changing. And that's exactly how the system is designed to keep you in the same place. But this pattern isn't random, it's predictable, and happens to almost everyone, because the system doesn't just pay you, it subtly shapes your behavior over time. Raises, bonuses, and promotions are designed to feel like progress, but in reality they often just increase your spending power, not your wealth. You feel like you're moving forward, but financially, you're standing still. Lucas saw this early, and he made a different decision from the start. Instead of chasing income first, he focused on controlling his system. He kept his expenses stable even as his income slowly increased. And instead of upgrading his lifestyle, he started investing consistently. That one decision created a gap that kept growing over time. After a few years, the difference between them became impossible to ignore. Lucas had built real investments, while Daniel was still stuck paycheck to paycheck. Same effort, same opportunities, but completely different financial outcomes. And the difference came down to one thing: the system they were operating in. Here's the part most people never realize. Your salary is not designed to make you rich. It's designed to keep you stable, predictable, and dependent on the next paycheck. Because when you depend on your paycheck, you're less likely to take risks. And the system rewards stability, not financial freedom. So if you follow the default path, you stay inside the system without even noticing it. But once you see it, you can start making different decisions. The first step is simple. Stop measuring your success by your salary alone. Because income means nothing if you're not keeping and growing what you earn. Start tracking how much you actually keep after taxes and expenses. Then, control your plane. lifestyle, before it silently grows with your income. Instead of upgrading your life, start upgrading your financial system. Invest consistently, even if the amount feels small at the beginning. Because over time, consistency matters more than how much you start with. And if possible, build income streams outside of your salary. That's how you reduce dependence on the system and start creating real freedom. Because once you understand the system, you don't just work inside it, you learn how to move beyond it. Daniel thought he was doing everything right, working harder, earning more, and following the path he was told to follow. But the path itself was the problem, not the effort he was putting in. Because if the system is designed to keep you in place, working harder won't set you free. It just makes you more efficient at staying stuck. Lucas didn't work less. He just played a different game entirely. He focused on ownership instead of just income. He built systems that worked for him instead of always working for someone else. And over time, that shift made all the difference. Not overnight, not instantly, but steadily and predictably. Because real financial progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. Most people never question the system, they just keep following it without thinking. And that's why they stay stuck for years, even decades, without realizing why. They think they need more income, but what they really need is a different system. Because without changing the system, more money just leads to more spending. And the cycle continues exactly the same, just at a higher level. But the moment you see it, everything starts to change. You stop chasing income blindly and start building something that actually grows, something that compounds, something that builds over time. Because that's how real wealth is created, slowly, consistently, and intentionally. If you understand the system, you can change it. And if you change it, you can finally move beyond it. Now think about your own situation. Are you actually building wealth or just increasing your income? Because those are not the same thing, even though they feel like they are. One keeps you busy, the other actually moves you forward. And most people spend years focusing on the wrong one, not because they're lazy, but because they were never shown a different way. The system feels normal when you're inside it. That's what makes it so effective. It doesn't look like a trap. It looks like stability. But stability without growth keeps you exactly where you are. And over time, that becomes the biggest risk of all. Because doing nothing different guarantees nothing will change. But even a small change in direction can completely change your outcome. That's exactly what Lucas did. And that's why his results were different. Not because he earned more, but because he used what he earned differently. And that's a decision anyone can make starting today. You don't need a higher salary to start. You need a better system, because the system you follow determines the results you get. So the real question isn't how much you earn, it's how your system works. Fix that, and everything else starts to change. Ignore it, and you stay in the same loop no matter how much you earn. Now you see the system. What you do next is what actually matters. At this point, the system is no longer invisible to you. You can actually see how it works. And once you see it, it's hard to go back to thinking the same way. Because now you understand that income alone doesn't create wealth. It's what you do with that income that actually matters. And small decisions, repeated over time, create massive differences. That's the part most people underestimate: consistency over time. Because the system works slowly, but it works every single day. Either for you or against you, depending on your decisions. Daniel followed the default path, and the system worked against him. Lucas made small changes, and the system started working for him. That's the real shift. Not working harder, but working within a better system. Because effort without direction just keeps you in the same place. Direction is what turns effort into real progress. And that direction comes from understanding how the system actually works. So, now the question becomes much simpler. Are you going to keep following the default path or create your own? Because both paths are available, but they lead to very different outcomes. One keeps you comfortable, the other builds real freedom. And the choice between them is made in small decisions every day. Now that you understand the system, The only thing left is deciding what you're going to do with it.